Hello, welcome back to the Subspace Developer Sync for January 22nd, 2024. I think it's been 2 weeks since our last update. And as always, things continue to progress and change. And yeah, we have a lot moving forward. So we'll just go ahead and jump in. I know we've been talking about Gemini 3H in the last few updates. I'll say that DevNet is up and internal testing is underway. Assuming all goes well, it's looking like a Gemini 3H launch could be as early as 1/31, so January 31st, a little over a week. I always hesitate to give announcements of dates until I'm pretty certain, but I think things are looking good so far. So um, and around Gemini 3H, I know Jim's got, I think, some things to talk about. I'll just say that there's a lot of announcements that are going to be forthcoming. Um, some sooner, some a little bit delayed, but what I'd ask is patience and excitement. So I think everything is looking great, and I'm really excited with a lot of the announcements that will be forthcoming. So. Jim, you want to kind of fill in from ecosystem side how things are looking?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Jeremy. Um, yeah, so since the last DevSync, Stake Wars entered the end game phase, which means it's no longer incentivized. So we still have a lot of operators up on the network, which is wonderful because it means we can continue testing things. It is no longer incentivized, of course. And final figures shook out to 320 operators staking 536,000 TSSC, so 500,000 in stake. Wonderful. And we broke 1,000 nominators. We ended with 1,054 nominators staking 318,000 TSSC. So once again, I know we've already said this, but thanks very much for participating, everyone. It's been a real success on our side. Great. There is a more complete roundup and a celebration of the success it's been over on the forum. So it's great if you want more details on exactly how things worked. All the updates are over on the forum. Moving on, we have launched a Space Acres feedback form. You've hopefully seen some posts from Ryan. So this is an opportunity to help us understand what features are important to you and an opportunity for you to help us shape the product. Obviously, it is an unofficial app, but we are keen to hear where people see the gaps as far as Space Acres goes. The DevNet progress update, Jeremy's covered that for us, which is great. And yeah, we're super excited as we home in on a date, which is probably, when asked for the hot topics, we don't really have technical issues at the moment. Not kind of a technical issue that everyone's reporting and experiencing, but certainly the biggest question on everyone's lips at the moment is when 3H. So Jeremy suggested a date. Obviously, we could be surprised, but confidence is growing. So yeah, hopefully we'll be able to formalize the announcements soon. We unveiled the mini space race, something super exciting, another way for our community to engage with us and help us test a dress rehearsal for mainnet launch is what the mini space race is. We discussed it at some length on the last community call, which you can find on our YouTube channel. And if you prefer to read it, there's quite a lengthy forum post that lays out the exact mechanics. So yeah, YouTube or the forum, depending on your preferred information delivery method. Pulsar has had a new release. We've had problems with Pulsar for a while now. Path is going to give us an update, I think, shortly on the exact technical aspects of what's changed. But we would love to hear your feedback on whether it is working for you or not. I've seen some comments in Discord, and it seems like we're not having the same phase issue that we were previously, which is great. East Denver. It's looking increasingly likely that a few of the team will be attending. We're not, just to be clear, we're not going to, we're not like a sponsor or running a booth, but if you would like to meet some of the team, please reach out on Discord or email, let us know, and we can arrange to come and see you in person, which would be great. And just to reiterate what Jeremy said there, massive announcements are in the pipeline, so make sure and stay tuned to our socials, please. That's everything from ecosystem this fortnight. Thanks, Jeremy.
All right, thank you, Jim. Why don't we go ahead and jump right in then to some highlights from the last couple of weeks. You kind of touched on this a little bit, Jim, but maybe Parth can give us more substantial update to the state of Pulsar. So
Sure. So, hello everyone. So we just released Pulsar version 0.7.4 alpha last week, and it basically fixes the two critical bugs that were existed in Pulsar, I believe, from the start of the Gemini 3G network. First one was Pulsar was not able to sync to the tip of the chain. This was happening due to the subspace block relay protocol not enabled in the Pulsar itself. So this was fixed. And the second issue that was happening very recently was Pulsar panicking after syncing is complete, and this was happening because we did some runtime upgrade, we did change some data structure, but decoding was not possible. So to remedy this, we removed that parsing of that problematic data structure and released version 0.7.
that's great. So just in time for the like the end of 3G, we do have Pulsar appearing to work, but that bodes well for going into 3H, that we'll be able to hit the ground running. We had some, if you remember way back, we also had some networking issues that were kind of showing up in Pulsar in a much bigger way than they were in the advanced CLI at the beginning of the network. So I'm looking forward to hitting the ground with Pulsar working on 3H. All right, some other kind of big updates around kind of feedback from Stake Wars and just trying to consolidate some of the software and the user interfaces that farmers and operators are using. I know we have some updates to Astral, our block explorer, that Natasha can talk about.
Yeah, hello everyone. So last week we started working on merging the staking interface to Astral. We are currently finalizing details on that aspect. So starting tomorrow, the community can expect to have the staking interface available on Astral. So we encourage everyone to test it. And if you find any issues or anything, or have any suggestion on get better on these features, please create the issues on our GitHub.
That's great. I know you and Mark have been kind of working hard on a lot of upgrades to Astral, and I think we'll see the real fruit of that in 3H, in the kind of the ease of use and gathering of useful information for our farmers and operators and nominators. Finally, we have bundle storage fees. So just a quick background before I hand off to Ning. In the current iteration of the network, when operators bundle transactions, they're not actually paying for those storage fees on the consensus chain. That's obviously not our design. They should be paying for the storage fees. So we've been hard at work at getting that implemented. In particular, Ning has been hard at work at getting that implemented. And it's kind of partially there. So Ning, you want to give us an update as to where we're at and where we're going?
Yeah, sure. On the bundle story fee, we had finished the first part, which mostly is about the change on the domain size, that including pressing down the consensus chain storage price to the domain chains as an inherent transactions, And also we charging the domain user for the consent storage fee in additional to the regular domain transaction fees. And now we are working on the second part on the consent chain size, which including for the charging the bundle fees when the bundle is first submitted to the consent chain for the from the operators, and refund the storage fee that collected from the domain users to the operator once the corresponding execution receipt is confirmed. But now we are still having some issue with how we like paying and refund the fee into dedicated storage fund accounts, which will be maintaining and drive from the staking pools. And we are still having some issue about how we deposit more fund to the this storage fund accounts and withdraw the fund back to the user when someone want to withdraw from the staking pools. And we are still having discussion around this issue, and we will keep you informed once we have some updates. Yeah.
Great, thank you, Ning. Yeah, we're still working through a little bit of the design issue around about how we handle the storage fund and the fees. So hopefully that will be kind of figured out in the next week or two, and we will finish the implementation of that, and probably it will get deployed to Gemini 3H as an upgrade. So, all right. So lastly, definitely not least, part of what everybody is going to notice immediately when they go to run their Gemini 3H node is that the CLI has changed a bit. So, and I think the kind of user experience has been in a steadily improving state, thanks to Nazar, who's been extremely mindful as of recently, or focused, I guess I would say, on farmer user experience and operator user experience. So, Nazar, you want to go over some of the changes we should expect to see?
Yeah, I think the first thing users will notice is that their nodes are not running anymore because they didn't update CLI options. That's most likely to happen, but they will follow documentation after that, I'm hoping. Basically, we've inherited CLI on the node side from Substrate, which is a generic framework primarily for proof of stake chains. And there were some substratisms, there were some options which are not relevant for Subspace that we essentially cleaned up in 3H. We have about maybe 50 to 70 CLI options removed, and there are a few options added instead. For example, dash validator is replaced with dash farmer. There are some more complex changes there, but the goal is that it will be easier to use, and it will be more relevant for Subspace. Even more options are removed on the operator side. There are also some quality of life improvements. For example, the way you add key to the key store of the operator. There is a new command which is a little bit easier to use than before. So all of that together, I hope will result in better farmer experience overall, even though it might be a little bit distracted for those who already have everything set up and they're used to do it the old way. But the new way should be not that much different and a little bit easier for newcomers.
Great. And I know Emil will have those docs all updated and ready for launch. So hopefully it won't be too distracting. It just isn't going to be a quite just change 3G to 3H and launch. The farmers are going to need to make some updates to their process. So. All right. Well, that is all I have. Is there anything from anyone else before we sign off? Yes, Jim.
Yeah, just to reinforce what you just said, Emil has been working on a 3G to 3H migration post. So I just wanted to make the point about documentation. The changes that Nazar just listed, we are aiming to have a forum post which explains what's different between the two networks, and obviously we will update docs, but the forum post should allow you to really home in on what existing farmers migrating, what they need to home in on. And speaking to sticking with documentation, the exciting aspect of development, of course, is I've seen some commits to the Subnomicon to explain what we're doing with fees, just to speak to Ning's update there. They're not actually merged yet, but if anyone's interested in what we're talking about there, you can read the PR in the Subnomicon repository. That was it. Thanks, Jeremy.
All right. Thank you, Jim. All right. Well, I guess with that, we'll sign off and plan on seeing everyone back here in 2 weeks.